Hi, I'm Rachel Abbasi. Welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. As always, thanks for spending time with me. Hi, I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and you have made it to the special Christmas edition of the Recovery Daily podcast. So, today I wanted to talk about the 12 days of Christmas recovery style. So, bear with me. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I promise you. So, the holidays, whether you are in sobriety or not, they require some recovery skills for sure. Um, I see the holidays really as a time when we reflect on our history. Old roles we've played in our life, old wounds, sometimes old expectations. And those oftentimes are kind of resurrected during the holidays. And there's these pressures that we don't feel throughout the year that become very present when we are in the holiday season, whether we spend them alone, whether we spend them with family, no matter where we are, there we are, right? And I wanted to supply, I wanted to provide some tools for how to manage the holidays. And it's my hope that these tools, so there's going to be 12 tools that represent the 12 days of Christmas. And my hope is that these tools, which I've pulled from my program, can help manage the emotions, letting go of expectations, and just get us through the holidays, not just sober, but grateful, being grateful and present. So let's get started. Day one, the 12 days of Christmas. Day one is taking one day at a time. What else could it be? How, the holidays seem to make me be very much in the past and very much fast forwarding to the future. Especially in early sobriety, I'm thinking about all of the drunk holidays that I had prior, and I'm thinking, how can I survive Christmas? And before Christmas is even over, I'm thinking, how can I survive New Year's? How do I survive the whole season? Um, the recovery program, one day at a time, brings us back to today. But I think more importantly, and I was just sharing about this with a friend, is bringing us back to the very moment that we're in. I don't have to be a victim of my overthinker and my wanter. Just because I'm thinking something doesn't mean that I have to do it. Just because I want something doesn't mean that I have to fulfill that want. So I really only have to stay sober, and I mean physically and emotionally sober, in the very moment that I'm in. That's all I have to stay sober for, is this very moment, right now. I don't have to stay sober through the entire holiday. That's where I need to get my head. I need to get my head to focus in on, rather than being overwhelmed by family dynamics and being overwhelmed by the season. Think Try to put it in the perspective of this very moment that I'm in. That's all I can control, is my reaction to the very moment that I'm in. And I'm going to talk about ways to do that. So, number two is, or day two, is letting go of expectations. So, I hear a lot of times in my recovery program that expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And that happens especially around family, it seems like when we get older and we're used to being independent and doing things our way, we get back to family and it's like those old roles that we played in our family start to rear their ugly heads, and I start fighting like I'm not that person I used to be. I'm who I am right now. But as much as I need to um, support the role that I play right now, I also need to not set expectations on other people to behave differently because I am sober. Um, Letting go does not mean that I am approving of other people's behavior and sometimes what they say. Letting go is managing my response to other people's behavior. Letting go is happening on the inside of me. Letting go is releasing that reaction, and we're going to get to pause in a minute, but bringing that sense of peace that I feel like when I'm in a meeting, when I'm in a sobriety meeting, bringing that peace into the moment with me. Not wishing that other people are going to be something else other than who they are, and knowing that those people that I met with in my sobriety meeting that very morning, they are there with me in spirit. Like we are all one unit. And I feel like when I go to my holiday stuff, I'm bringing this unit of sobriety with me. This fellowship is with me. And at any given moment, I can pick up the phone and text, just making sure I'm not alone. And somebody will respond. Somebody will definitely respond at some point. I mean, everybody's busy, but everybody is often feeling the same way. So day three is connection over isolation. So isolation, because of all these family dynamics, isolation can feel safer during the holidays, but it is rarely safer for our sobriety. So connection can mean going to a soberthon, an alkathon. Connection can mean picking up the phone and calling your sponsor. Connection can mean thinking of somebody that you haven't talked to recently and picking up the phone and saying Merry Christmas. Or if you have the ability, go out to lunch or something like that. You know what I love? Absolutely love connection can be getting out a card, writing in it, and putting it in the mail. And that act alone makes me feel seen. It makes me feel like I am connected. Um, Day four is gratitude. So, gratitude, though, without denial. Gratitude is is an interesting thing because it can exist at the same time that sadness exists. Like gratitude can coexist with loneliness, disappointment, grief. But what it does do is it anchors me in reality. And it's an action for naming like one small truth. And whether that is, I'm sober today, I'm grateful I'm sober today, that can be enough. It really can. It can be enough to get you through a moment. And that's when a relapse happens. That's when my relapse happens. They happen in a moment. It's a decision. And sometimes it feels like it's not a choice. I remember back when I was drinking and I was relapsing didn't feel like it was a decision I was making. It felt like it was out of my control. But rest assured, it is a decision. And if I decide to do the next right thing over and over again, I can avoid that relapse. Um, I I feel very strongly, and I've already said it, that I don't have to listen to my wanter. And so day 5 is the pause. The pause interrupts old reaction patterns. Um, the holidays can feel emotionally fast. They feel like there's so much happening. Time is running by, you got to fit everything in. So that sometimes can feel like a drink is going to slow things down because what it's doing, that drink is slowing my mind down. It's slowing my response time down. Um, but I can do something other than drink. I can pause and take a breath. And it's amazing. When I quit smoking, actually, I quit smoking and replaced it with vaping. And then I replaced vaping with taking a deep breath. So I would go outside, I would go to the place that I was normally vaping, which in the end was everywhere. And I would pause. When pausing for me is shut down everything, shut down my thinker, shut down moving my body, stop everything and take a breath. Take a deep breath, the breath that I would take when I was inhaling a cigarette or a vape. And that space can make all the difference between the stimulus and the response to it. So pausing can help choose a different path rather than resentments, defensiveness, all that negative stuff that for me, my ism, my disease seems to feed. That becomes the battleground, but in my head is all of that negativity because I'm just trying to manage my life. I'm trying to manage the minutes. And like I said, um, the pausing can slow it down in an instant, but we have to make it happen. It's once again, it's a decision. I have to, day 6, create my own boundaries. And boundaries, I don't owe everybody an explanation about what I'm doing. When you're meeting with your family and you're all in the same house and there's all this chaos going on, everybody, yep, 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 yep. And then somebody disappears. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Maybe they went to the bathroom. Maybe they went outside to get something out of their car. But they went to do the thing without getting permission from everybody else, right? They just left. It's their life. They left. They didn't give me an explanation about where they're going and what are you getting out of your car? You know? They didn't owe anybody an explanation, and the same thing is true for protecting our sobriety. If I need to take a pause, if I need to go outside and take a breath, if I need to go walk down the street, if I need to pick up the phone and call my sponsor, if I need to text somebody from the table, I don't owe anybody an explanation. If I'm sitting at the table and somebody just lit me up at the table, I mean, I'm not, that doesn't happen in my family, of course. But if something's happening and it's got me all fired up and I need to pause, but it doesn't feel right to storm off from the table or whatever, I can text somebody from the table and say, you know, I'm a little upset. I just want to make sure I'm not alone. Send it to your sponsor, send it to somebody you know is going to respond, a friend, somebody. Um, and and you're setting your own boundaries. Like I should never feel alone. That is so important to my sobriety, is that I don't feel alone and I don't feel trapped either. So, always having an exit plan, knowing that I can leave early. Again, I don't owe anybody an explanation. I'm leaving, I'm done. I don't even have to say, I'm leaving because I'm tired. I'm leaving because I need to do this or that. I don't need to say anything else other than I'm leaving. It's time for me to go. And even if I'm all pissed off, I don't have to say it pissed off. I'm leaving. But boundaries keep the relationships from becoming resentments. So keep that in mind. Day 7, acceptance. Okay. Acceptance um, is difficult. And I know this firsthand as far as accepting all the things that are going on in my life, my stroke, accepting some stuff that's happened in my family, directly in my family. I I don't accept things to say I approve of them. Accepting people as they are frees me from feeling like I'm trying to control them, from trying to control them, like frees me from feeling like I am managing the people, places, and things around me. Um, Acceptance, a lot of times, gives me that pause, that that is needed before I explode. Sometimes if it's a really heightened situation, accepting this person is who they are, and I need to stop fighting it. I need to stop fighting reality. Like the holidays are supposed to soften things, soften our responses to each other. Like it's supposed to be a season of love and gratitude and stuff. And it seems so often like it's the opposite. And I think for me, it's because I'm trying to control everybody and make them fit into my world the way I want them to fit in. So I need to go into the holidays with acceptance and maybe, spend a moment before I'm about to meet up with my family and say out loud, I accept everybody the way that they are. I will not try to change them. I'm going to show up as the person that I am, and I'm going to build the boundaries, that I need in order to protect my sobriety. Day 8 is willingness over willpower. So willingness is something that I think I talked about it yesterday. Willingness has really been the key to my sobriety. The key that has opened the door to this world of sobriety that I'm in. And if I am trying to have my sobriety rely on willpower, I'm not even going to get through Christmas Eve. I am not drinking because of willpower. I don't have any willpower. It's something that when I was drinking, I used to say like about eating, drinking, smoking, that I don't have any willpower, and I didn't think I needed any willpower because I wasn't going to stop any of these things. But um, willingness is stronger than willpower. And willingness it can be anything. Willingness looks like asking for help. Willingness is following suggestions. When my sponsor says, okay, halfway through your holiday event, text me and make sure, just so that I know you're okay. Like willingness is doing that, um, even when it's inconvenient. Staying sober through the holidays is remaining open to my program and not finding excuses to drink. Um, Number 9, day 9, self forgiveness. The holidays stir up a lot of regret for me. There are lots of old memories of waking up in the morning, making myself a mimosa, and smoking the whole 2, 3 hours that it takes for us to open presents. And and I remember my kids sitting inside the living room and having to wait for me to come back in to smoke my cigarette while I'm standing out in the garage smoking my cigarette with my mimosa. And there's a lot of shame that tries to reintroduce itself on Christmas. This is, we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. This is particularly important during the holidays. Self forgiveness allows me to stay present in the moment instead of spiraling into those regrets of the past. Um, and with self forgiveness, I think there's gratitude in there. Thank God that today I'm not doing the same thing that I did back then. There's a lot to be said for that. Day 10 is progress, not perfection. Recovery holidays are, in my house, not Hallmark holidays. Progress for me sometimes still looks like me getting upset. I'm still me. Wherever I go, there I am. And I still have my anxiety disorder. I still have depression. I take medication for it. I still have the same sort of inner reaction to the same kinds of discussions or outbursts or whatever it is that I hear. I still internally, my reaction, I guess my habit to react is the same, but I have injected that pause and I'm working on living better, responding better, not reacting, but responding. So showing up imperfectly still counts. And I don't have to perform recovery for my family and friends. What I need to do is internally live recovery. And the most consistently I can do that is progress. I'm not trying to reach for perfection. I'm trying to remember the tools of my program the best that I can, do the best that I can. Day 11 is service. So service shifts the focus outward. It's a lot easier for me to stop battling between my ears when I'm focused on how can I be of service to other people. Listening during the holidays is service. And I have found I've had some podcasts about episodes about it that I have been practicing. And lately I haven't been doing very good at it, but I've been practicing when I have this instinct or need to respond and be a part of a conversation, I have been practicing holding my tongue. And I don't mean when it's a negative conversation, just any conversation. I have been practicing holding my tongue. And it actually makes me almost want to laugh. Like when I'm sitting in a room with people talking and I'm practicing holding my tongue, I am almost about to laugh at myself because it is funny to me how much I am dying to contribute to the conversation. But my point and my piece of service there is to listen. Sorry, I just slobbered on myself. Is to listen. So I think it is the most kind thing that I can do during the holidays or any time of year is to listen. And I mean actively listen. And if you are in any sort of career, you've heard of active listening and being a part of repeating back what somebody else says and let them know that you are actively listening to what they're saying. So, and then in other ways, we can pick up the phone and call somebody else in our program and let them know that you're thinking about them. Like helping someone else stay sober strengthens our own recovery as well. And so finally, day 12 is seeking to understand than to be understood. And there have been so many years, and I'm ashamed to say in adulthood that I want to be seen on the holidays. I want to be validated. I want to be understood. I felt like the holidays were about me. And that's, I'm if I'm nothing else here, I'm honest. And that's what I felt like, even from a little girl, like, right? Santa Claus was coming to town to see me. So making sure that I am outwardly focused, understanding others will soften any conflicts. I don't have to agree with them, but I can consider what is making them believe what they're saying. And do I have to correct them? Um, I don't have to be right in this situation. And maybe that's another way of being of service. You know what? I'm going to let them be right, you know? And curiosity disarms resentment. Like just stay curious. Why do they believe this? Ask about more. Can you tell me more about that? Um, I don't have to be understood to stay sober. What I need to do is be present. That's it. I need to be present. So recovery during the holidays is possible. To stay sober, stay connected, and the way that I do it is to be emotionally honest with myself. Um, the real win on the holidays, like the real win is to wake up the next day with my integrity intact. You know, wake up the next day with gratitude for the day before. That's what my goal is. So, thank you so much for joining me on this precious episode of the 12 Days of Christmas in Recovery. And we have a few more days, but I just want to put it out there in case people are are shutting their computers down for the holidays. Likely not, but if you do, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I plan on being back tomorrow, but I'm truly grateful that you're here. I really am. Thank you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.